Hey, everybody. Coming up 10 o'clock tonight, East Coast time. I'll be joined by my very special guest, Mr. Doug Schimel. And Doug will take some of your questions and comments here tonight. So we look forward to seeing everybody live at 10 p.m. East Coast time tonight. Mr. Doug Schimel, reporter from NBC Philadelphia. That's right. Doug has left NBC Philadelphia, but Doug had a career at NBC Philadelphia that's one that's worthy to talk about. And that's coming up in a little more than a half hour. I'll be joined by Mr. Doug Schimel right here on Michael tonight on the Grizz Network. So we're going to do a little radio talk as we get ready for tonight's show. We'll have a little radio conversation right now. And let's talk about today's big story. And everybody knows what today's big story was, and that is the countdown to March Madness. Are you excited about the playing games on Thursday? Do you plan on watching them? That is my question tonight. Also, normally this is when the Disney special show Having a Magical Day would air, but tonight it's being preempted because today is my mom's birthday. That's right. Today's my mom's birthday. So that's why I preempted the Disney show tonight, because my mom's birthday celebration was going on pretty much up until 9 o'clock. So we will be live at 10 tonight for Michael Tonight, the debut of Michael Tonight, when Mr. Doug Schimel will join me to take your questions, and we will have an in-depth conversation about the media business in 2021. I am so looking forward to this conversation with a man that has the knowledge that Doug brings to the table. It's going to be a fun conversation, and I am so looking forward to it. That's coming up in a little more than a half hour from now. Stay tuned. You're tuned to the Grizz Network. Hey, how's it going, Harry? How's it going tonight, buddy? I see you in the house. Harry, it's going to be a fun show coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. I had to preempt the Disney show because my mother's birthday today. Yes, yes, yes. So we were celebrating my mother's birthday tonight. So yeah, with my mother's birthday today, we celebrated that. So yes, yes. So we will be doing the show coming up at 10 p.m. tonight with Doug Schimel. He was a reporter at NBC Philadelphia, and he started his career here in Philadelphia as a major market reporter, and he won Emmys and everything. I mean, you know, Doug has done a lot in his career. Um, I actually have a whole background here on Doug. Here, I can let you guys know a little more about Mr. Schimel because he's a really a big guest for me here tonight. I'm excited about having Mr. Schimel on. So he's an Emmy award-winning television journalist. He also has chased tornadoes, rooted out corruption, and performed off Broadway. There you go. There you go. So yes, yes. Well, thank you, Harry. Thank you. We also Doug has also done. He's acted in commercials for AT&T, Activia, and several other companies. He's appeared in films with Corbin Benson and produced long-running documentaries on Netflix. So yes, Doug Schimel is a well-rounded guy in the business. He was a reporter in Philadelphia here in this major market. He appeared on the 6 p.m. and the 11 p.m. news frequently, and he's a well-established man. He's a great guest to have. Harry, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this interview tonight. When I bring Doug on here, I met Doug for the first time at a fire in my neighborhood. He was covering a fire in my neighborhood, and we took a walk around to see what was burning. And when we got to the fire scene, we seen Doug there with the news van for NBC Philadelphia. And I approached him and I introduced myself. And we started chatting, and my mom was actually with me. That's what's ironic about this. On her birthday here, I'm going to have Doug on my show here. I've been wanting to interview him for a long time, and tonight I finally get the opportunity to have Doug as a guest here in the primetime show. And that's coming up in 1/2 hour, folks. That's right. In 1/2 hour, I will get to, for the first time here in my career, interview Mr. Doug Schimel. And it's going to be a fun little conversation we're going to have. I'm looking forward to it, like I stated. And it's going to be a good night tonight. Tonight's going to be a good night. So, yes, indeedy. Looking forward to it. So looking forward to it here tonight, Harry. So, yeah, you know what? Actually, I should get on camera here. I just want to make sure everything's working properly. I think we're good to go, though, Harry. I'm going to bring the camera on board now. Let me do that. Let me bring the camera on board. So I'm onboarding the camera. And here we go. Let's do this. There you go. All right. How you doing? How's everybody doing tonight? How's it going? Yes, yes. So there you go. Onboarding this camera right now and to say to you, good evening. Good evening, everybody. So yes, yes. You know, I don't have much of a studio, Harry, as you could see here on camera. I don't have much of a studio at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's a, there you go. Now you don't see it anymore. There you go. There you go. Now you don't see it, but you did see it there for a minute. But that's okay. You know what? Like, honestly, you know, it is what it is, you know. It's a makeshift studio here. So, you know, yeah, I gotta drink some water here, get ready for the 10 o'clock interview. So there you go. Yes, yes. I've been trying to set up this interview with Doug for a while now. And finally tonight, I will be bringing him aboard here on the Michael Tonight Show. So yes. Am I going to keep it in portrait mode? Yes, sir, I am. Portrait mode it is. Yes, sir. You know that, Harry. We're going to keep it in portrait mode. So we're just doing a little warm-up pre-show right now. Then we'll get the full introduction here, open up the show. Michael Tonight is the name of the show. It's the first episode officially of the Michael Tonight Show, and that's what we're going to call it here. Yep. Straight up. Easy and simple. Michael Tonight. That's it. That's what it's going to be called. The first airing, of course, is tonight, 10 p.m. East Coast time. Yes, yes. So, but I am going off camera here again for a minute. So I'm going to play an intro here. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back here to the pre-show. My name is Michael Grizz, and tonight it's Michael Tonight debuting here at 10 p.m. And hopefully tonight we're going to be good to rock here. Hopefully everything's good to go with our camera and all that good stuff. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I'm hoping for here tonight. I'm hoping for an easy night tonight, Harry. You know what I'm saying? Did we just freeze? What the heck happened here? We just froze. What in the heck? Why did we freeze? Now it's saying no connection. There we go. All right, it's back. It's coming back here. I don't know. We had a little technical glitch there. I don't know what the heck that was all about. Anywho, little technical glitch there, but we're back. We're back live here in studio. Like I said, tonight's guest will be Mr. Doug Schimel. So there you go, Harry. Harry, are you looking forward to the interview? I mean, this is a seasoned reporter in the Philadelphia market, Mr. Schimel is, and he's a great guest. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. There you go. So yeah, I don't even have no package available or anything. I didn't make no official, Grizz created entrance tonight like I did those fancy videos I was airing. I kept airing the one there about the massive announcement. And Harry, by the way, Harry, the young lady I showed you a picture of last week. Well, I could tell you, she's tough, man. She's tough. Harry, I've sent her probably 100 messages. And honestly, you know what, Harry? She don't get back to me. She's just not interested. Well, there you go. I'm glad to have you aboard, Harry, because I know I could trust in you. You know what? Sometimes it's not always about trying to bring on other people. It's about just doing your thing right. I think I'm spending too much time on emailing people instead of just getting the show on the air. It's that old saying because, when I was with Channel 7 in Philadelphia all the way back in the 90s, the one thing they used to tell me all the time, they used to say to me, Michael, we got to focus on putting the show together. We got to put together the intros. We got to put together the packages. We got to have everything ready. It was all about focusing on doing it the right way. They had everything was done from a production standpoint with the crew at Channel 7. It was done on a tip top shape. You know what I mean? Like they put a lot of work into it. There you go. You were writing code all day today. So you're up to something, Harry. If you were writing code, you're up to something major, I take it on this day then, right, Harry? You're up to something major, something big coming from you? You got a major announcement coming here soon, Harry? You're up to something? Writing code, that's not an easy thing. Writing code is a lot of work, Harry. So that sounds like you're designing a website from scratch there and making it really nice. See, we actually had to get ready. We had to go out and pick the birthday cake up for my mom. I had to run to the bank, transfer some money, one count to the other. I had some things to do today. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we had the birthday celebration for my mom, so we had some things going on here today. My girlfriend was over. So we did our brackets. We picked a couple mock brackets. We just threw them together. We did 3 March Madness brackets, ate Olive Garden for dinner. So yeah, I'm pretty fed up today, man. I'm fed, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty I guess you'd say the brain will be working overtime here, and I'm a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, nerves can kick in sometimes. I'll be honest with you. Doug is a really established guy, and it's a really big interview for me here tonight. So I'm like, I'm gonna be a little more edgy tonight than I normally am because of the fact, I want this to go down with perfection, as they say. So that's where my hopes are, and that's where my dreams are, is that this interview goes down perfectly. So you are working on some devices for home weather station. There you go, Harry. There you go. Well, Harry, I brought up your channel, 860 AM, to Tom Sorrows, the chief meteorologist at KMG, and he said he's never heard 860 AM. So, I brought it up to him. I asked him about it, and he said he's not familiar with 860 AM now. So, so he's never heard you guys. But he's in Central Orlando, so like you're saying you only go to East Orlando, and he wasn't familiar with your station. But I told him that how you were looking to acquire a bigger station with the 50,000 watts, which I'm sure will be booming into Orlando. So but yeah, I brought it up. By the way, you know what's funny, Harry, about this whole thing? Doug Schimel is actually doing a radio show called the Museum of Sports. He does a show called the Museum of Sports, and he'll tell you more about it. But anyway, he hosts that, and he also is on 860. He's on WWDB 860. Let me give you a little background about WWDB. It used to be the big talker in Philadelphia, the talk station, 96.5 FM, WWDB. And then they took the call letters and they shifted them over to 860 AM Philadelphia, which is probably a middle range power station. I'm not sure if it's watt wise how many. I mean, like you were telling me that your station is 1,000 watts, and where 1210 is 50,000. So 50,000 watts. WPHT, the old WCAU. So yeah, back when I was growing up, radio was different here in Philadelphia. You had WCAU and you also had WWDB 96.5. And the funny thing is, my buddy Richard, God rest his soul, we lost Richard many years ago. He was a blind man and he would play the organ at the church. And Richard passed away. Like I said, we lost him. He used to call WWDB and he used to promote Channel 7 on WWDB. He used to call the host and they'd have a conversation about Channel 7. It was a beautiful thing. They used to talk about how great Channel 7 was. They put us over, Channel 7. They made us sound good on a major station. That was nice to have that publicity, So it kind of helped my career as far as, the callers and the listeners and watchers I had, the viewers. It's not the watchers, it's the viewers. The viewers that I had on television at Channel 7 came from WWDB. Oh, Harry, I'm sorry. It is 8:40. Okay, I'll send Tom a message. I'm sorry, Harry. That was totally a botch on my mistake there. Your number is 8:40. I'm going to send Tom a message. I'll get right on that. I'm going to send Tom a message. He'll see it later tonight. So yeah, I'll send him a message over there. Tell him that you guys are 8:40. So yeah, I'll let him know right now. I'm going to send him a message. Yeah, let me send Tom a quick message here and tell him about 8:40. So this is the pre-show, folks. The big main event starts in 20 minutes. We're just doing a little pre-show chit-chat here on Haps.tv. So this is for you guys just joining me. That's what we're doing. The main event begins at 10 p.m. tonight, okay? So tell your friends 10 p.m. tonight, guys, 10 p.m. So I'm sending Tom a message. He'll get that later tonight. Yeah, so I'm sending Tom a message. So there you go. Hopefully he'll get back to me tonight. He should, though. He normally gets back to me before 11:30 tonight. He'll normally get back to me on his comments here on Facebook. Because Tom does a morning show called Talk to Tom. And then you leave him a comment and he goes back and answers them after, during the breaks of his. Normally, like he does it during his break time between 7 and 11. He answers the comments. But sometimes he takes a little later than that. It depends on the day and what he's doing, if he's a busy guy or not. Tom's a chief meteorologist down there in Orlando. So, sometimes the storms or something can keep him busy. So I'll have to ask him, Harry. See that? I totally botched it. See, I got to take notes. Harry. That's a mistake on my part. But I asked him. I told him I misspoke. So there you go. But WWDB here is 8:60 a.m. So there you go. Right. Okay. So there you go. So like I said, I apologize for that one, Harry. It's just I've been running around with a chicken without a head this week. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, the whole thing with that girl, Harry. I sent her 100 messages on Instagram, and she's tough, man. She is so tough. She's not like anybody with a resume, and she's still a hard head with it. So that's why I said I fold. I give up. And hey, what's up, RNC? How's it going, man? How's it going? Leo 2.0 for RNC. We'll give a shout out. Leo 2.0 on the Hannity show there. He's on. Well, what a crazy character. Leo Terrell. He's a lawyer. Yeah, we have Mr. Doug Schimel tonight. He's a reporter from Philadelphia, NBC Philadelphia. He was with. He's no longer there. He now is an actor, and he'll tell us about his latest role in tonight's interview. So, yeah, you'll have a chance here to ask him some questions if you like. And that comes up at 10 p.m. He'll be joining me at 10 p.m. tonight. And we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about the old days of television. And that's why I'm setting the table for you folks that are joining me here on the pre-show about how, things used to be in the Philadelphia market with this WWDB, the talk station, 96.5, then flipping over to 860 AM now. And Doug does a show. He hosts a show on 860 AM WWDB, and he also is an actor. So he's appeared in a movie with Corbin Benson. Yeah, I believe I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying it right. Corbin Benson, right? Or is it Corbin? Well, anyway, Doug will tell you all about it. He'll tell you what he's been up to. Yeah, he'll tell you. Believe me, I'm going to have him talk about what he's done. I'm going to ask him about that kind of things tonight. So we got planned out. We're gonna discuss it here, and he'll give you a brief synopsis of everything he's done, and I'll ask him to comment about everything that he has worked in, because he's worked in a lot of different areas in media. He's really the king of all media, Doug Schimel. That's really who he is. I mean, he's done it. He's been there and he's done it. And that's the one nice thing is that Doug has a background here that's extensive. He's done the production. He's done the on-screen. And you know what? To find a guy that well-rounded is awesome, and especially on that level. I mean, he got to interview some interesting people for his stories. He won a couple Emmys. He was an Emmy Award. He's an Emmy Award winner in the Philadelphia market. So it's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Doug Schimel is a guy that really had a nice career. It was a really good job that he did, and he's a seasoned veteran here. He could tell us about some good stories tonight. And that's what we're looking for, is we're looking for Doug to tell me some good stories. And, like I said, I started on TV at the age of 16 on WOCB 7 Philadelphia. I know people probably, what do you tell me your background for? The reason why I bring that up is because when I interview somebody, I want people to understand that I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, okay? I've spoke with a lot of people over the years, I had the opportunity to interview Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey, and Police Commissioner Ramsey went on to now being he's not a columnist, but he's a celebrity guest on Wolf Blitzer. He's on with Wolf Blitzer. I mean, how many people could tell you that they've been on studio with Wolf Blitzer? They've been on that show. Wolf Blitzer does his own Situation Room. And former Philadelphia Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey, who I was able to, ask one question to. I'm not going to tell you I interviewed him in depth, but I was able to interview him with a question when he gave a little press conference there on the local news. He gave a little press conference, and I was able to ask him a question. So that was kind of nice. It's something that you always you're proud of yourself that you got the chance to, you put notches in your belt. And, I don't want to act like I have a big head here, but my friends have told me when they watch my interview segments, they like the way I do my interview, and they like the way I flow it, the way I keep it moving. And tonight, you're going to have another really interesting interview for you. So, sit back, grab your favorite drink and a favorite snack, and sit back and enjoy. It's going to be a fun time we're going to have here. And you're going to get a chance to ask anything you want in the chat room. And, we'll try to get in as many callers as I can that I can invite up. And we'll see what happens here, So I'm going to start it off by interviewing Doug, and then I'll open it up to you guys. to participate in tonight's festivities. So it's the Michael Tonight debut tonight. It's the first ever edition of the new show. And what we're trying to do with this show is straight up special guests. You get a chance to interact with them. And that's what we're going to do on this broadcast. Don't worry for you Disney fans. You guys are coming back, okay? You guys are getting the chance to get your own show. It's Grizz's Open Mic, and it's coming your way every single Thursday night at 9 p.m. It's Grizz's Open Mic Thursday night, 9 p.m. East Coast time. It begins this Thursday. So there you go. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Grizz's Open Mic. So, you know something, Harry? Wolf Blitzer comes off as one of the nicest guys you could probably ever meet. Is that true? Is that true? Is Wolf Blitzer really one of the nicest guys you could ever meet? And ladies and gentlemen, we still have a few more minutes before the show. So, but you know what? I believe we're going to welcome him in right now. Let's do it. Good evening, Mr. Shimel. Welcome to Michael Tonight.
Michael, how are you?
Great. It's an honor to have you.
You're very kind. You're very kind. This is late for me. Normally, I'd be sound asleep by this point.
Wow. So we're past your bedtime tonight.
All right. Let's see. I got a little. I'm getting these little air messages here. Your internet connection is unstable. It's funny. I just cut the cable about 4 months ago from FiOS and went over to T-Mobile, and I have noticed since I switched over to T-Mobile and I do the Museum of Sports show, it tends to be a little more glitchy than normal, and I'm not sure what because it's not like a hardwire coming into the house. It's basically a gateway tower that connects with T-Mobile's cell towers. So I'm probably gonna have to up my speed with them, but they make you pay for that. Now, where are you based, Michael?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Cool. Yeah,
I was telling the story, Doug, about how I met you years back. You were covering a fire in Port Richmond, where I'm from, and I remember I approached you there, and we started talking. And I met you many years ago when you were with NBC 10.
What was it wasn't the tire fire, was it?
I don't believe so. I believe it was just a building fire that night.
Yeah, I'm trying because the big one we did up there was the tire fire, and God, when was that? 95? 95 or 96? Oh, that was awful. And I just remember that night. I was working with my photographer, Joe Frederick, who now works for Associated Press. And I think John Blunt, I don't know if you remember John. John was there with another longtime photographer, Dave Bentley. And, we'd been there pretty much for 2 straight days. And it was black, just even during the daytime, you could barely see between you and your photographer. And I was living in the art museum area at that point. I remember getting home that night, and I called my then wife. And I said, leave a plastic bag in the vestibule and turn off the light. I said, I'm just going to strip down in there and put my stuff in a bag. And got up the next morning, dropped it off at the dry cleaner around the corner. And I said, see what you can do with this, but don't open it until I leave because I'll throw up. The smell was just unbelievable. Oh. And then I remember in the years after that, my wife was saying, after that, you got sick like once every year, some sort of respiratory something. And I thought, oh, God, and then you start reading stories about all the people down at that huge Chester fire from the 1970s, getting all sorts of funky stuff. And it's stuff you don't think of when you're covering things at the time, but you start getting elderly like I am now. And it's like, oh, God. But I remember John Blunt. It was Dave Bentley going to the doctor. He started breaking out in hives. And he was the photographer. He was John's photographer that day and night. And they gave him all sorts of treatments and steroids and stuff like that. Finally, after about 4 or 5 months, it wasn't going away. And the doctor goes, have you been around any like hazardous materials or toxic chemicals or anything like that? And Dave says, well, I was at the tire fire for 2 straight days, 3 months ago or whatever it was. And the doctor said, he said, I wish you had told me that. He said, when you're around, and who knows, it wasn't just tires in that place. All the tires that were built up under 95, there were probably drums of hazardous chemicals and who knows what else there.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's crazy.
Those toxins, it builds up in your fat cells, and as you burn those fat cells, he was getting the hives. And I thought, oh my God, that's all you need. All right, let me see if I can see on my internet connection. Am I glitching or freezing a good bit, Michael?
You're looking
or am I
good.
moving
Everything looks good on my end. Yeah, I have you clear as a bell.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking. I see like a little preview of me, and then I see you, and then I see the actual program cloud. The program cloud is the one that looks like it's a little freezy or glitchy, but it looks fluid to you.
Everything's good as a whistle here. Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Yeah, we're actually up live already, just to let you know that we're up and running here. The way the program works is here on HAPS is that the minute you open up, you're live and you're ready to rock. So just to let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you knew that or not. I just want to make sure you know we have a chat room going, and they're going to have questions for you in a little bit, and
cool.
we're gonna have some fun tonight.
Yeah,
everybody here is a really good crowd. I have one guy that was actually an engineer with the NBC network crew.
I wonder when was he there, and I wonder if we ever crossed paths.
Harry Morton is his name, and Harry, I'm going to invite Harry up right now just for a few minutes here to he'll have some good stories to share with you here for a couple minutes here. Harry's really good with that, and so I'll invite him up, and then Harry will come on and tell you a little bit about his background, because he has some interesting ones. I've heard them a few times, and they're classic stories.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you,
most of which can be
Yeah, what I wanted to ask you tonight was, last time I seen you, of course, I knew you were on NBC 10. So how did you get started in the Philadelphia market? Where did that all begin?
Oh, golly. Well, it was back before I was born, Michael. And no, I remember my parents always told me, they said, we knew from an early age that, you said you wanted to be, a television journalist. And, I didn't remember that, but I remembered, being a little nerdy kid, and I watched a lot of television news. And I think one year for Christmas, my parents got me a Commodore, I think it was a Commodore brand, reel-to-reel tape recorder, a portable one. And I would sit there in front of the TV and record stuff, or I'd, go outside and interview my friends. And, of course, my sister was like, oh, that boy is destined for chronic nerd syndrome. And so I remember recording the moon landing in 1969, Richard Nixon's resignation speech to head off, being impeached. And, and I wish I knew where all those tapes were, but it just kind of stuck with me for a while. And I remember there was a show, if you remember so you might be a little too young, the anchor for CBS Evening News, who was sort of their legend and put CBS on the map, Walter Cronkite. And I remember watching him for years, and he had a show on Sunday evenings called The 21st Century with Walter Cronkite. It was about things that, were in the future. And we're talking, late 60s here. And I was fascinated by it, how they researched and illustrated the stories. And so it just all kind of hung in there. And then I guess when it came to, as one of my old anchors in Texas used to say, it came to nut cutting time, where you have to start sort of figuring out what you like to do. I love to write. I did theater. I love public speaking. I liked being an observer of things, and sort of like to affect change. Kind of undo bad things and enact good things, and it all sort of kind of came together. And when it came time to pick your major, broadcast journalism, which is basically, just a bachelor's degree with, some legal and libel courses, and some ethical courses that are added in there. But it's basically a liberal arts degree. You have to know a lot about a lot of things. And so, a long story, endless. Ended up at the University of South Carolina. Grew up in Connecticut, but ended up down there as a Gamecock down there at University of South Carolina in Columbia. And never envisioned, my mascot being and this is the symbol, I guess, which is also a symbol. Apparently, it's the symbol for the Gamecocks, and as one of my friends up here with NBC pointed out, he goes, "I believe that's also the racism symbol." I'm like, "Oh well, that could explain a lot of things." But it's been number one. How fearsome is a damn rooster? Unless it's got like sharp spurs on it. And so I ended up down there, and it turns out they have one of the best undergraduate journalism schools on the East Coast. Got to do all sorts of amazing things when I was there. And then it came time to look for a job. And back in those days, there was no internet, but there was something called the Broadcasting Yearbook. And Broadcasting Magazine was kind of the Bible of TV and cable. Cable was a relatively new thing then. And I swear to God, if anybody even remembers what a phone book looked like, the thing was this thick. And it had every city and market in there, from Market 1, New York, to Market 300 and something, probably somewhere in the Midwest or the Dakotas. And I picked, what did I pick? I picked some cities between Market 50 and 150. And I probably sent out 50 or 60. And you sent out, tapes at that point, 3/4 inch tapes. And sent them, I think maybe out of the 50 places I looked at, maybe 20 had openings, 10 of which I kind of felt qualified for, 5 actively considered, 2 made offers. And one was in Corpus Christi, Texas with ABC. The other one was in Fort Myers, Florida, and I can't remember which affiliate it was. And I asked my dad. My father was one of the original madmen in advertising, so they had a sense of, what markets did what, and what markets fed into other markets, or what markets fed into the network. And he goes, Texas, it's kind of like a nation state. It's got small, medium, large markets. They got crazy politics down there, environmental stuff, hurricanes, oil and gas issues and tornadoes. And he says, that'd be a good news generator. It's a highly scouted state. He goes, Florida, on the other hand, that's God's waiting room. And I was like, all right, I've been to Florida. I know what that's like. So I went to Texas. So I was with ABC in Corpus Christi, then Austin with CBS, then storm chased in Oklahoma for a couple of years, 2 years in Kansas City. And it happened to be the 2 years that Joe Montana was traded from the Kansas City Chiefs. Was traded from the San Francisco 49ers to the Kansas City Chiefs. So that was fun as hell, because he took a mediocre, and a lot of people forget that. I think he may have retired as a 49er. I don't remember. But his last 1.5 productive seasons were with the Chiefs under Marty Schottenheimer, the coach then, who just passed a few weeks
back.
The
late, great Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I liked him, got to know him, and really guy, very fair. Had a successful winning record. He just couldn't win the big games, and that's sometimes that's your legacy. You have a winning record, you're known for many great things, but you don't have that ring and the Lombardi trophy. So the first year he's there, he takes like a C+, B- Chiefs team, takes them to the AFC Championship against the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. And it was Jim Kelly's 4th and final Super Bowl. If you remember, they had 4 runs to the Super Bowl in a row, all 4 losses. And but it was a blast, absolute blast. And then my ex got an offer up here in Philadelphia with what was then WCAU's CBS-owned station. And my agent arranged a freelance deal over at Fox 29, which was not owned by Fox News Corp at that time. It was owned by, I think, Paramount. And I was at Fox 29 for about 6 months. And then Channel 10 made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I was there for, I guess, almost a quarter of a century, believe it or not. Although I'm not that old, of course.
I always wonder what happened there, because I remember you showed up in town on Fox. And so now the story, I finally get the answer to my question that's what happened. So you were there for 6 months. And I remember, of course, at NBC 10, we used to run into one another all the time around town, different things. I was covering a story. I don't know if you remember Lieutenant Stephen Lisbinski. We were covering his memorial service. It happened that we ran across one another covering.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we've run across one another
because
a lot.
I ended up doing so many of the, police memorial and funerals. It just seemed like the last 25 years, and particularly the first few years I was in Philly, were especially deadly for law enforcement in Philly. I'm not sure what it was, and for firefighters as well. And it just seemed like a couple of times a year I was putting together memorial pieces, and met. So as I always said, 35 years in the business, a little bit more. You meet some of the most marvelous, wonderful people in the news industry under some of the most excruciating and brutal circumstances, and I've always been humbled and amazed by how well I've been treated by people at perhaps the lowest or worst points of their lives. And I always said that I'm not sure if I came up to me and interviewed me about something like that I wouldn't just punch me in the throat, because I don't see how these people have functioned with such grace and such diplomacy when the media come calling.
It's amazing, Doug. It really is to how people conduct themselves when they lose a family member.
Oh, it's
right,
like I said.
Yeah.
And many families to this day, I still maintain friendships with the Fahey family in Delaware. If you remember the Tom Capano murder case of the then Governor Carper's appointment secretary, and the Fahey family, they were so gracious to me over the 3 years that story sort of played out, and still keep in touch with them on social media these days. So you make some wonderful friendships through some horrific times, but I guess that's the silver lining.
Well, Doug, I want to introduce you to Harry here. He worked with NBC as an engineer. So, Harry, welcome aboard.
How you doing? Hi, Doug. How you doing?
Harry, how are you? Were you based out of New York or DC, or were you here in Philly?
Yeah, no, I was based out of New York. And for a while, I was on the road with NBC.
Excellent. Now, were you at 30 Rock or?
Yes, at 30 Rock.
Who did you? Now, were you news mostly, or Today Show, or?
Well, when I was at 30 Rock, it was general maintenance. So I'd get assigned to a different studio all the time. I worked on Saturday Night Live, David Letterman. It was a whole bunch of different things. Yep. And then on Saturdays, we did sports. So, they kind of throw you around in the building.
Yeah. Now, did you get to stay at 30 Rock, or did you ever have to go out with some of the sat trucks or the live crews?
Well, anytime that I went, remote on news, it was usually international. So, I was over in the Middle East. I was there during the bombing in Beirut. Then after that, I was on the Falkland Islands, so I went over to the Falklands on the retrofit. They retrofitted the QE2 into a troop ship. So they took all the bling away, put plywood down on the floors.
I do remember that.
Oh God, that was something. That was one heck of a thing. And I know a lot of the people, there was like mortars going off nearby. And a lot of guys would say to me, how could you just curl up in a corner over there and go to sleep? Right? I says, well, they're not hitting here.
And when you haven't slept in 3 days, it's very easy to just sleep standing up or sleep slumped over. Yeah, it's funny because you sit back and you tell people. you tell people very casually, what you did, and I went here and I did this and I curled up when the mortars are going off. What other industry in the world sort of affords you that front row seat to history? Whether it's local, national, international. I mean, there's no other industry like it. And you sit back and you think how lucky you were to have been kind of the chronicler of things as they unfolded. I just think it was one of the coolest aspects of the industry.
They would also give you $10,000 in cash in case you had to buy your way out of the country. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was in addition to the hazard pay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy! And then I was involved with the truck that got blown up on the bridge in in Nicaragua. The Nicaraguan military, they did a strafe over us, and they flew over, and then the chopper turned around and I said, "Hey guys, he's getting set up to to shoot some missiles off. All right, I think we better get out of the truck." so we jumped off the bridge into the water, and they blew up the truck. So it was crazy. And then we get out of the water and we're traipsing through the jungles, and we get captured by the Sandinistas. So they're bringing us into the camp, and we're hearing gunfire going off, and they're actually assassinating people. Well, their leader sees us, and they see all our press credentials hanging around our neck, and they let us go. But it was crazy. Once I got back to New York, I said, that was when I said no more NBC News, and then I did NBC Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was done with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised they didn't turn you guys upside down and shake that 10 grand out of you before they let you go.
Yeah, no, they didn't know. And we look pretty tattered.
Good.
But oh boy, it was just some experiences.
No doubt you've seen a lot of changes in the industry over time. Technologically, you've seen changes. You've seen changes in the budgets that the network used to cover it. It used to be you spent, you lost as much money as you made to cover the news, and then all of a sudden the things started contracting and the travel wasn't there, and you used stringers in other countries, and the travel went away for a while. And now it seems that, they're back to fulfilling a mission.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting back to it. But now technology is a lot better, so they could set up a satellite link in minutes. Instead of you would have to prep for about 30-40 minutes just to get the bird. With the portable equipment they gave then, and a bigger dish and all that. Now, they could do it almost instantly.
Yeah. Well, I remember, when I retired in 2016, we were, and this was a big back and forth between the union. I'm a member of, SAG-AFTRA, and all of our techs were International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And I guess what were you guys up there? IATSE, or what were you guys?
Oh, in New York, it was NABIT.
NABIT, that's right. Yep, I knew I was forgetting one of them. But they had us doing, at least when we were moving, you could do shots with live shots with your phone with I'm going to forget, Live View, and there were a couple other brands that we used to do live shots. But I was just sitting there as you would do a live shot before the microwave truck or the sat truck got there, and I was just marveling at how amazing it was that you could basically put your remote together with one of these, which was good and not good, and you know what I mean.
Just prior to the big NBC.
Wonderful to be that.
Remember the big walkout in '87?
Yep.
Well, prior to that one, there was another negotiation that we had, and I was on the e-board, for that part of the negotiating team,
right?
And everything was pretty much still a standoff. Everybody was still working. Everybody was all ticked off. Well, I was so ticked off. I went down and I found a button maker, and I made a whole bunch of buttons up. You know, I paid for it out of my own pocket, and it said on it, "I want to strike, but they won't let me." so, so shortly after those buttons were passed out, NBC decided to make a settlement with us, and then we had a new contract.
You know, and it's so, and I don't want to get into that whole collective bargaining. Now, I had a personal services agreement, but obviously it rests on the shoulder of the collective bargaining agreement. And so I would, you know, they'd call me periodically before they went into the negotiations and that sort of thing. And it's funny, I never appreciated a union. I never appreciated organized labor as much as I did when I went to work for NBC, because A, you had to be a member. B, it's and I think a lot of the younger kids that are coming into the, you know, the union markets or coming to the network just don't have that appreciation of what it took to get, you know, labor organized and what it means. We had a strike here. When was that? 2015, when the just before the Pope came. And IBEW Local 98, which is the big union that represented our techs and editors, they had been without a contract, I think, for a while. And they went on strike, I think, 3 or 4 days before the Pope arrived. And this was not long after, this was really sort of Comcast ownership's first big story since they had bought NBC. And Comcast being headquartered in Philadelphia, we became sort of the de facto flagship station, you know, after Channel 4 had been the flagship station, you know, since Sign On, you know, decades ago. And they brought in all sorts of, you know, non-union folks from Telemundo down in the Rio Grande Valley and that sort of thing. And a lot of these kids had been lied to when they came up here and said, "Oh, you're going up to help our friends in Philadelphia, and here's the company gold card." And these kids came up here and they got bullhorns in their face and their ears. They got stuff thrown at them. You know, the IBW guys tracked us down on live shots and interrupted live shots. So we stopped going live for a month. And I would explain to these young, mostly photographers, they said, "Oh, I don't understand what everybody is so upset about." And I said, "Well, let's just say you've worked for an employer for 20 years. And one day your employer says, 'You know, Bob, I got to let you go.' And you say, 'Why? Was it a performance issue?' 'Well, no, you just cost too much.' 'Oh.' And I said, 'Well, you know, but Bob's boss said, 'But, you know, I'm going to compensate you. You know, you're going to get severance. You're going to get $10 for every year you've been here. Bye-bye now.'" And I said, "Does that sound fair?" And the young scab, I hate to call them that because some of them were nice guys, said, "Oh, that doesn't sound fair at all." And I said, "Yeah, you're just going to go out and hire a lawyer and you're going to sue the station for wrongful termination, right?" "Oh, I couldn't afford to do that. I wouldn't know how to do that." I said, "Therein lies the value of organized labor." I said, "It's those sort of situations where you take at-will status, where you can be fired essentially for no cause. And organized labor is helpful. And I'm hoping the younger generation coming into the industry starts developing an appreciation of that, as opposed to, what are they doing this dues checkoff for? Why are they taking all this money out of my paycheck? You know, sorry, I'm got my soapbox there, Harry and Michael. Sorry about that.
You know, Doug, I'm glad though you touched on that, because one thing I will tell you is that when I started my career, I was on the independent scene. I started at Channel 7 WOCB, Low Power TV Philadelphia, and we weren't even paid to be on air. We were broken in as talk show hosts / correspondents. So we would have to call in our stories, or we'd come to the studio and do, you know, a shift on air. So I used to host a talk show where we literally didn't even have a screener. We just took the phone calls live on the air. This was 1992. I mean, it was crazy how television was. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if you were in Philly yet.
Yeah, I think I got here in, when did I get here? 93, 94? Yeah, somewhere around there. You start losing track after a while. Yeah, taking calls live on the air, that's always very exciting. Plenty of well-publicized stories. Harry and Mike, I'm sure you remember, with live callers that self-destructed on shows. But yeah,
And the other,
Philly is a wonderful TV town that's got an incredible history to it. And I sort of came in at the tail end of a lot of that history. I used to tell Terry Ruggles, if you remember Terry, who was one of our anchor and reporters for years. I said, Terry, man, I feel like I just missed the golden age of television. And Terry says, you know what, Doug, no matter when you got in the business, someone's going to tell you just missed the golden age of television. And but I really felt like, I stood on the shoulders of a lot of great. Oh yeah, periodically Terry, Mike Strug, but worked alongside Big Al Meltzer, who I remember the first day I met Al, and Al was the sports guy, Harry, here for decades. If you ever remember the show it ran on, I think, on WOR up in New York, but it was produced at NFL Films down in Cherry Hill. It was called This Week in Pro Football with Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire, and they were CBS's marquee color and play-by-play team. I happen to think they were one of the best, in really the history of TV, modern TV. And they would host this, recap of the week's highlights that NFL Films provided. But every so often there'd be this guy who wasn't them, and he was wearing this like Madras jacket with this paisley tie and check shirt and pastel pants. And when he came up to me and he says, Doug, I'm Al Meltzer. I just want to say it's nice to meet, someone coming in here who's old school. And I said, well, it might happen to be that I'm slightly old when I got here. And I said, you're that guy that used to substitute for Pat and Tom on This Week in Pro Football. And you had this jacket and this tie and this shirt and these pants. And he goes, I still have every one of those in my closet.
Wow. Doug, it's funny you bring on that story.
Just a great guy.
Yeah, Doug, finish the story. I'm sorry.
No. That's all I had. And Herb, trying to think some of the other legends, John Facenda, Gene Crane. John Facenda, of course, invented the voice of God in broadcast. Maybe second to Ed Murrow and Walter, Uncle Walter.
Some true legends. I'll tell you, Doug. When in your run at NBC, you worked with so many greats in the Hall of Fame of broadcasting, of course. And then you also worked with guys like Bolaris and Mente and Jane Robelo, Ken Matz. I mean, the names you worked with, they were some legendary names, right?
I'll tell you, and it was exciting. Was the last talent hire under CBS ownership, and the first talent hire under NBC ownership. So I ended up having to interview with the outgoing general manager, the late Gene Lawley, and then the incoming NBC general manager, Pat Wallace. And Harry, you may remember him because I thought he was in New York at one time.
Yeah, Harry.
And so that was pretty otherworldly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. From time to time,
he was more with the.
Yeah. From time to time, Bob Hope would stop into NBC and say hello. What a wonderful man. I couldn't believe it. He would just, just on the blue, just stop in, to come in and say hello, and then of course he would get on the air with, other, celebrities and all that stuff. But I've never met such a wonderful, actor. Another one that I liked was Mickey Rooney. I worked with Mickey Rooney on a few, shows. And do you know Mickey Rooney would not take his food, in his private trailer. He would come out and sit with the crew and eat with the crew, right? And he says,
Wow.
he says, I'd be nothing without you guys. Which it's it's such a wonderful thing to hear from, talent. Unbelievable. I've had the opportunity to work with Raquel Welch
and treat your photogs and treat. Oh,
right.
Yeah, treat all the techs and photogs well. Make sure they're fed, they're well rested, and making sure they're not curled up while mortars are falling.
Yeah, yeah. Raquel Welch, I could say that she is just a terrible bee. She was horrible. Unbelievable. I never met such a terrible woman.
Yeah.
Oh, Lauren Bacall.
Are you being serious? Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm serious. Raquel Welch was the worst to ever work with.
Really?
Yes, the worst. She's such a prima
Hey,
donna.
Harry, I have a question for you. Harry, are you willing to tell Doug who? Because this guy he worked with in Philadelphia. Can I bring up the name? Kurt Schilling.
Yeah.
Doug, Harry here is Kurt Schilling's cousin. He said this publicly before, so that's why I'm sure it's okay, right, Harry? Tell him.
Yeah, we're distant cousins.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, did you ever get to watch him play much, or?
Oh yeah. I've watched them several times. Great pitcher. I know he's busy right now with his wife and moving to Tennessee. Matter of fact, he was on yesterday briefly from his hotel room. Moving his stuff. A lot of stuff. To his new house, and he said to me, he says, you're going to be envious, right, of the hobby room that he has. So I said, I bet I will. I bet I will. But
there's nothing better than sports memorabilia. Mike knows one of my clients is Lou Scheinfeld, who was Ed Snyder's right-hand man. Ed Snyder was the founder of Comcast Spectacor and put the Spectrum and what else they put online, Citizens Bank Park down here, and kind of created stadium broadcasting for Philly with Prism TV. And Lou's dream has been to have a museum of sports here in Philadelphia. And it just so happens the DePacha family in South Jersey, they have the world's largest and most valuable sports memorabilia collection. If you remember a couple of summers ago, there was a Babe Ruth jersey that went up for sale, and I think sold for a little over $5 million. That was the DePachas, and they're our partner in the museum. And everybody we have on, I always like saying, and so what's in your attic? And when can we come over with the U-Haul truck to start picking up some of that for the museum? But their collection easily worth, I say, $35 million. It could be double that. They just keep it very sort of vague about what the actual value is. But sports and sports memorabilia, I'm trying to think, is there a sport? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that, it's interesting. WWDB is the station that you're doing that show on, and that co-letters such a legacy in Philadelphia with 96.5, the talk station.
Oh, exactly. Well, they were rivals with KYW, who's the longtime, it was sort of like the 1010, and I'm trying to think what News Radio 88 in New York. That was a long-time rivalry. But yeah, the Museum of Sports is one of my clients, and the show we do for them, the Museum of Sports show, is sort of the outreach, and it's just fascinating to see some of these collections, the recollection. It's really all about memorabilia and memories. It's every Thursday, 4 to 5 Eastern, WWDB Talk 860, and then Facebook Live as well. We've got, who do we have on this week? A friend of mine that I met years ago at the U.S. Open. I still go every year. I just didn't go last year because of pandemic. John Wertheim from Sports Illustrated, and as of the last 2 years, 60 Minutes. And I told him, I said, I met you at the U.S. Open, and I've never let you forget about it. So anytime I need somebody to come on the show, and he's such a worldly guy, he can talk any sport. But I'm a big tennis player. I play a lot of tennis. I follow a lot of tennis. And so I get John on and we start talking. Of course, the other two are on the show. They can't stand tennis. I'm like, oh, this is wonderful.
Well, Doug, I'll tell you what, it's been a pleasure to have you and an honor to have you here tonight. I know I promised you we're not going to run it too late, so I'm going to thank you for coming on with us tonight. It's been an honor once again. Growing up in Philadelphia, you were a joy to watch, and it was always nice to have you always be welcoming when I seen you around town. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for coming on tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. It's been so much fun being on. It's great getting to share some stories with Harry, another legend there, and it's just it's a fascinating industry, and as long as the younger folks entering the industry have a respect for sort of where it was prior, and that they're shepherding it into the future, and they really are the fourth estate, and they are the watchdogs, and it's not just a place for FaceTime and to get women. But no, I didn't say that part. I did say that part.
Before you part, I got a funny story. I used to live out on Long Island, during the time when I worked at NBC, and I would take the Long Island Railroad in with a bunch of other guys, for our shifts, and there was several of us that commuted together on the Long Island Railroad. We meet in the same train car, at our individual stops, and then we sat together. It's like this 5-seater, that are facing each other. 2 seats are facing 3. So it'd be like
sure,
5 of us in there. And of course, people would see us with our NBC jackets on, you see the peacock and all that stuff. Well, one day, one kid came up to me. He says, "Oh, I want to work in television." So I turned to the kid and I says, "No, you don't. You don't want to work in television." Right? I says, "You'll be on the road all the time. You'll never see your family." Right? I says, "And you drink so much that you become a lush."
I second that emotion, Harry.
You just burst that kid's bubble. I says, "But it's the truth."
Mommy, I wanted to go on the TV.
Oh boy. But we had really some
Well,
fun
guys,
time.
thank you so much. Oh yeah, it's there's no other business like it, and I still get to stick my toe in with the clients like the Museum of Sports show and some other client-driven pieces and some Netflix documentaries and some fun stuff like that. And it's a different industry, as Harry, as I know you've discovered. And then after a while, it's just time to do fun other stuff. While the kids are still young and the grandkids will remember who you are.
And then now here down in Florida, I'm doing some contract engineering and consulting. So it's sort of like, piecemeal. I'm not working every day, which is nice, and I still get my hands, into transmitters again.
Yep.
There you go. Harry has a phone call. There you go.
Excellent.
I'm pretty sure that's Harry ringing. Yeah, Harry always has the phone going off. So
that sounded like this.
But Doug, thanks again so much. And anything else you want to say, Doug? The floor is yours,
guys. No, that's it. Other than Harry's phone sounded like the start of the Bob Newhart show, but that's another story for another time. Thank you, guys. That was fun.
Thank you, Doug, and you're welcome back anytime. Feel free to join us again when we'll have you back again in the future.
I'll come back as often as you'll have me. Let me know. Take care, guys. Be safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Okay.
There you go, folks. Mr. Doug Schimel, thank you again. It was an honor and pleasure. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
So he doesn't switch.
All righty, there he is, Mr. Doug Schimel, and great segment and everything there. We had a good time. It was a lot of fun. Thanks again, Doug. Doug, basically the way it works is you just kind of kill your camera, and that's it. We're thankful for having you tonight. So there you go. Because I still see Doug on the producer board. Yeah, so thanks again, Doug.
Yeah, Doug's in the green room right now.
Yeah, he's in the green room. I'm just explaining to everybody this way, so because Doug's first time ever here on Habs. But Harry, how awesome was that to have Doug Schimel?
Oh yeah, that was great. That was really good.
True honor. Harry, we've been having a problem with echo. That's the reason why I was muting your mic, because I was getting a lot of chat room comments that there was an echo coming back. So I don't know why, but for some odd reason, we kept getting an echo.
That's weird because, I haven't changed anything.
Yeah, I don't understand, because with Doug's feed, I had no echo, but the minute I muted your mic, the echo's gone. Like, I'm going to mute it now, and then the echo's gone. So apparently we're getting an echo on your end for some odd reason. I don't know why. I'm going to try to unmute you and see what happens. Let's see.
That's strange.
All right, it seems like it might. It's still there. For some odd reason, we're getting an echo. When Doug was talking, I wanted to make sure. Go ahead.
Okay, how about now? I there's one thing that I have in my browser. It's called Ultimate Volume Booster. So what I did was I set it back to its default. How's that?
Let's see what happens when I talk. So when I'm talking, that's when the echo is coming. Now it's not as bad. Let me ask the chat room. What do you guys think? I'm going to talk, and Harry's. See, it's when you're not talking, Harry. That's when we're picking it up.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is, but
oh yeah, because I see something. I see something pop up on my I guess that VU meter on the side of the picture. When apparently HAPS is not muting it enough, when it picks up audio.
Right, yeah, because that's the reason why I was muting you. I didn't mean to intentionally mute you. Like I said, the chat room was saying that the only way, so that's why I stepped down so I could produce the show. Because, I had to run it from the production cavity pretty much to keep the audio from coming back. But I'll tell you, I would have kept Doug all night, but I promised him we were going to keep him on for a little bit. So, in the future, the window's always open for Doug to come back. I really enjoyed that interview, and I thought it was great that, your stories with him, though, were really good. And you guys both being, employees at one point at NBC, it really made for interesting broadcasting. That was one heck of a piece of broadcasting right there. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, he was, I guess in a different division, of NBC. Now, we also had a lot of remote, news offices that, they had little mini studios, but then also we used other stations, as well, depending on the area.
Yeah, basically what Doug was saying is that he was a reporter for NBC Philadelphia. So his job was basically go out and get a story. He would appear on the 6 and 11 newscast every week. Weeknight he was on there. And, that was something we didn't get too in-depth with. But I felt like, it was a really good time. And like I said, I enjoyed it. And I'm sure Doug enjoyed it. You could tell. And you know what Doug's talent is? He loves to talk. He's a natural at, telling stories. So that's a good thing. I mean, I know Doug personally for years. I, would see him around town and whatnot. And, like I said, it was just amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see somebody says use a headset, eliminate the echo. I do have a headset, but I'm not comfortable with it. I do have a Sony Studio Monitor headset that I like. I just got to get new ear cushions for it. Matter of fact, I do have it here somewhere.
There we go. But if anybody else wants to call in too, we're going to open it up. Anybody can call in on the first edition of Michael Tonight. What's funny is Doug came here early, and I think he thought that we were in pre-production. What he didn't understand is, boom, we go live right on the air. He's used to the commercial thing. I think he thought I was going to throw a commercial on, and we were going to get a chance to talk off air. But unfortunately, we had to keep running the show because that's what we do here. We just on the internet, we just keep the show running straight through to the end. So,
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, hold on. Let me see. Let me plug
But like I said, we're going to have them back, and I'll explain to Doug, like, hey, next time, though, we'll throw a commercial. I'll have something pre-recorded to air for a couple minutes. So this way we can, get a chance to speak with Doug. But he was a phenomenal reporter. I mean, he really was a gem to NBC Philadelphia. He was the, honestly, he was just a Hall of Fame guy. The Philadelphia Broadcasting Hall of Fame should have had him on their first ballot for the work he did as a reporter. He was one of the best that came through this town. And, me, like I said, I worked on TV in 92. I knew every reporter that came through this town. I got to know each and every one of these
Oh,
folks that
wow.
were doing reports because for the talk business, you had to know who are these people, like, reporting on the news every night. So I would watch every channel. I would flip around every night, different channels. And then I had a scorecard of every reporter in town. And that's how I got to know people. I networked with the reporters when I seen them on the street. And at one point, I became really good friends with Yuki Washington. He's on the CBS station here now as a head anchor at 6 and 11. And he does the 4 and the 5 too. But the thing with Yuki is I wanted him on, but he told me that the station has to approve it. And, like Doug, he don't work
Oh,
for anybody,
jeez.
directly anymore. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
CBS are real jerks about letting their reporters on the air
yeah.
or their
Doug is
anchors.
Doug is a free agent now.
Yeah. Doug's available, so I'm glad to have Doug available to me because he's a true asset. You know what I mean? As a guest or as a co-host, Doug is a true asset. He's a true talent, and like I said, he could do his own 4-hour talk show the way he could tell the stories. He's good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I believe my echo's gone now. These
Okay,
this
awesome. There we
headset,
go. Thanks.
these studio monitor headset that I have here, believe it or not, I bought back in 1976 or 77, somewhere around there. I've
Wow.
had them that I've had it that long, and now I need new earmuffs for it because they're cracking and it's starting to flake a little bit. So, but these are the greatest monitor headsets made by Sony. I got it so long ago. These headsets traveled around the world a couple of times.
Wow. Good stuff. Well, you know what? I buy a Panasonic television I have here. I've had that television now for going on 15 years.
Yeah, but
So,
now the problem is you have to use an external converter for it for digital.
yeah, well, you know what? I still can throw it's like an HD TV. It's, I throw a plug right from the cable box, goes right into the TV, and it works.
Oh, okay. Well, is this a flat screen or is it still a picture tube?
And it's a flat screen type TV.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
So it's
guess it's
it's
15 years old. Yeah, I guess
yeah, yeah.
I paid $700 for it.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about early plasma TVs back when they first came out. They were going for $10,000, right? And of course,
Oh, yeah.
my
Yeah,
wife,
those were the days.
my wife had a hissy, right? But then I took the set night and I mounted it up in the bedroom. Now, of course, I spent 10 grand for the TV set, and the wife had a hissy about it. That I bought this thing, but then I put it in the bedroom, and then she was sitting there on the bed, and that's just an alarm. Uh,
Oh, okay. It's your alarm going off. Okay.
yeah, well, I got to take certain medications, so
Right. I
uh,
remember you telling us that story before about the medications. Right. Right.
yeah. So she's sitting there on the bed looking up at the TV, and then she turns to me, after giving me, a reaming, for getting the thing, right? She turns to me and says, "I love my new TV."
My girlfriend, she gave me encouragement tonight. She says, "Oh, don't worry. I was all stressed out." She'll tell you all day I was stressed out. She says, "Oh, don't worry. Doug's going to bring in the numbers for you." Well, we're into the broadcast and we're at 114. This isn't the numbers I was expecting, but that happens.
Yeah, it happens. Uh,
Yeah, it's just you got to try things out. I'm
you,
trying to
you
get
try,
this Bianca Ryan on the air. She tells me she'll be on. I never hear from her.
yeah. Yeah, maybe she's not, as serious about it.
Yeah, she sent me a message saying I'd love to be on, and then she don't. She's a big star. She's verified and got 65,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
As a matter of fact, was it? I activated my other streaming. I don't know if it's going out, now when I'm on, but yeah, with Instagram and also with YouTube. So I believe every time I go on, it's streaming out there.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's just we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's just tonight's one of those nights that I started late, like Lee just said. Lee said, he started super late for a weeknight at 10 o'clock. So I mean, we probably got, and even Doug mentioned that he said that he'd probably be better suited for an 8 p.m. bell time instead of a 10 p.m. bell time.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's
I agree.
it is a Tuesday night after all. It's not Friday or anything.
Yeah, see, Lee made a comment in there. You started the stream super late for
Yeah.
a weeknight. That's why a lot of people couldn't make it. That's and that's very true.
Well, that's it. The Joe Simon stream started at 9 o'clock on a Thursday. That's a big difference than 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's like night and day. So I didn't even think about it. I figured 10 o'clock people would show automatically, but oh well, what are you gonna do? I
Yeah,
promoted it and I had fun. Don't get me wrong. I love Doug. I mean,
yeah,
he's got good energy and all. And like I said, I wouldn't ask him to come on my show if I didn't like him. You know what I mean? I'm a huge fan of his work.
yeah.
I mean,
Hey, and
Harry. Truth
we
is,
all
I've
had
been
fun.
waiting.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I've been waiting to get him on my show for years. I've been trying for years, like different times. And finally tonight I got him on. So I mean, I started the show a little early. Actually, I was scheduled him for 10, and I got on at like 9:45. So there you go.
Hmm. Cool. Well,
Yeah, hosting.
hey,
Let me tell you something, Harry. Hosting a show from a perspective when you're doing an interview type show, it's a little different than hosting a show about a specific topic. Because, like you said, you're getting ready to develop a show. You said you're going to teach people how to make things right with the engineer stuff, right?
right,
See,
right.
like
Matter of
with
fact,
me, I'm not teaching nobody to make nothing.
yeah. I also need to set up some additional cameras and things like that so that everything will be a smooth transition because you don't want to be fiddle futzing with something to set it up, and try to teach somebody something at the same time. It just doesn't work.
Well, here's my deal. I was going to tell Doug this that I'm in the process of moving. In May, we're going to move to Florida. Once I get into Florida, we're going to set room up where it's strictly studio. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I don't have the room to set up a studio, as you know.
Right.
So, so we're getting ready. Hopefully in May, we're going to hit it hard and we're going to have a lot more like taped out in the field and brought back and edited down and produced and put on the air. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you go. I got to take my
All right,
meds.
hey, no problem.
And
I'm
hey,
glad you came
and
up.
we'll,
Thanks for doing that, by the way.
yeah,
Thanks for coming on with Doug. That really made for a good show.
and we'll do it again.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll talk to Doug about coming on with you again. And this time, I'll let you two guys just, talk about the good stories because I know you got plenty more to tell them, and you guys will have
Oh,
a good time exchanging
oh,
stories.
I experienced so much over at NBC. It's unbelievable. Uh, I'll save the
Exactly.
story. I'll save the story for another time. But we had made rocket chairs that were on David Letterman, and it was
Wow.
using CO2 fire extinguishers. But I'll get into what we did with them. You know, as the rocket chairs. Because everybody wanted to know what are you going to use a rocket chair for. But I'll save that for when I actually tell the story.
Nice tease. There you go, Harry. On that note, I'll wish you a good night. Thanks again for coming on.
Okay, we'll catch you later.
Take care, Harry.
Bye.
Thank you very much. All right, there you go, folks. Harry checking in with us tonight. And so that's pretty much what we got left for you here tonight is we're going to get back on the air here. Let's go. Here we go. All righty. So what I have left for you is not much here because the night is pretty much over. I've just been told that I've gotten the orders to keep the noise down. So, yeah, you know how that goes. When the orders come in to keep the noise down, that means Grizz got to fold the show for the night. It's a good time. No, we'll chat a little bit. Though. If you want to chit chat for a few minutes here, we can just lighten the mood and go to chit chat. If you guys want to chit chat, I'll throw on something here and we'll do that. Put up soundproof foam in my room. Well, no, we're going to wait to Florida, Lee. Listen, let me talk about that for a minute here, about this move to Florida. I'm going to talk to you in my low voice, my indoor voice. Everybody was I seen Bo Adams with the comment during the show. What's he screaming for? It's my natural voice. I get excited. Okay. So, like, I do have a way of getting excited on the radio shows. I do. It's just it's the way I've been for years. I spent 13 years hawking beer at a stadium. Okay. So for you guys who are looking for an answer to that question, now you know. It's been 13 years hawking beer at a stadium. I've got a very loud voice, a booming voice. And that's that's the truth, guys. I mean, I can answer some questions here because we're going to do a recap and all, and I'll do it in the room voice. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that you get to a point where you basically, you're used to doing something, even though it's been years since I hulked beer at the stadium. But part of the Grizz legacy is I'm the guy that's the loud voice guy. You remember Richard Simmons used to come on Letterman. What did Richard Simmons do? He'd come out on stage screaming, right or wrong. I'm just saying, just giving you a good example right there. You look through history, certain people had characters about them. What makes me different from the other broadcasters? Well, she told me she was going to come on this week. Her name is Bianca Ryan. I'll tell you what to do, Lee. Send her a message. Tell her to get on the Grizz show. People need to start bugging her. Go for it. Send her a message on Instagram. And then don't bug her too much. But like if you guys put it in her ear, like, hey, we want you on the Grizz show. Her name's Bianca Ryan. She was the winner of season 1 of America Got Talent. She told me she would love to come on the show in a message. So guess what? Now it's time for you as the audience to go ahead, get with her on social media and say, hey, we want you on the Grizz show Thursday night at 9 p.m. Just do it. Just do it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying just do that. Dude, I'm from Philadelphia. She's from Philadelphia. Okay? She's on Instagram at Bianca Ryan, and she's definitely verified. I'll show you that she's verified. Okay, let me just pull up her profile right now. Look, I'll pull up the message. Here she is, guys. Bianca Ryan. There you go. You get the camera in focus. Go hit her up. Go hit her up. Yeah. Go hit her up, guys. Go hit her up. Lee, you never know, man. Go follow her and send her a message. Well, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm known as the Philly Beer Man. I'm known as the Grizz. I've been around for years. And you know what? I don't have any connection, dude. I just sent her a message. She followed me on Instagram. I sent her a message. She wrote back she would love to. I asked her to come on Thursday night. I haven't heard nothing back from her since I sent that. Okay? So, I haven't heard nothing back. It's been 2 days. I'm sure she's busy, maybe recording an album or something. But, look, I'm here to compete on Haps. Okay? Let me make that clear. I came to Haps.tv to be the main event. I didn't come here to be just a guy on Haps.tv. I came to Haps.tv to be one of the elite. Okay? Look, I have a bad situation where I don't have the advantage like some people do. I'm in a one little tiny bedroom here where I set up a makeshift studio. Okay? And I'm doing my best to make it work. And I'm trying my hardest to continue on producing shows for you. When we get to Florida, it'll be totally different. We're going to have an official studio room that's dedicated to broadcasting. Okay? Okay, so I'm telling you, I'm letting you know. I have the passion, I have the drive, I have the energy to put on a show. And, when you guys wrote in the room that you were getting feedback, the first thing I did was drop everything and start producing the show that I literally would mute out the lead. Did you notice the change when I took over? I muted out the background noise. Because I knew that the problem was there and I fixed it. See, I do take action. See what I'm saying? I will take action. I listen to your feedback. I know I didn't give no shout outs to anybody, but I even put Bo Adams' comment on the screen. I'm trying to give everybody recognition on this show. Now, why are they saying we only been live for 32 minutes? We've been alive a lot longer than 32 minutes. What happened at the beginning of the show? We've been live for an hour and something. What do you mean I've been live for 32 minutes? Wait a minute. Did something happen here? Wait a minute here. What's going on in Haps here? Why does it say I've been live for 32 minutes? When I took my camera down, did that kill the show? Oh, boy. So, listen, I'm doing my best, guys. Doing my best. Some people don't realize that and they knock me for it and they don't come and support it anymore. I'm trying my hardest, though, to put on a show. If you're a replay viewer, I thank you very much for joining me. If you were here live tonight, I thank you very much for joining me. I wish I knew every single name who was here tonight so I can give you a shout out right now. I would. I really would. Bo Adams was here. I seen him. I seen Gare Bear. I seen Mike Digital. I seen our man Lee here. I know Harry was here because he was on the air with us. You know, we're trying here. We're trying really hard here, okay? This isn't easy. I'm going to be 45 years old. I've been trying to get my name in this broadcasting ring for years, okay? And you know who winds up taking the lead? I'll tell you who takes the lead. I'll tell you who gets all the claim, the fame, is the people that have friends on social media, okay? I don't even need my glasses anymore. The people on social media who have the connections to tweet them out and Instagram them out. You know, I could go on for hours talking about that, but I'm not. I'm not. Because you know what? I'm better than that. I'm better than that. I've got the talent. If only Haps would put me up there and let people have a chance to come in my room when I got everything working and have everything the way I want it, I put on quality broadcasting. It's up to you to decide. It's up to you to decide, okay? I work hard at this. I work really hard at this, and I really appreciate everybody like Doug Schimel who came on tonight as a guest and supported this broadcast, and I'm grateful and thankful for it. I gave up Twitch, man. I do like a syndicast here. It goes on everything. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on it all tonight. And everybody tuned in, I thank you. And people will vouch for me because there's people out there that have been watching me for years trying to get this thing right. I used to have a co-host on the radio station by the name of Jessica. You know, I brought in Scott Mattisol. I brought in Tom McCarthy numerous times. I've had names. So the question is, when is Grizz going to finally go up that ladder and become the household name that I'm trying to be? When we get to Florida, I promise you I will work night and day to get it done. I will work night and day. My girlfriend puts up with a lot, you know, like she knows I'm always working something for the broadcasting angle. So, you know. Exactly, dude. I've got 28 years in the business, dude, and I'm getting slapped in the face. Do you know, and it's a true story, and I've told in other people's rooms, when I came here, Peter and Pablo had a conversation with me, and I told them, I said, I could bring people to Haps. You know what their response was? Okay, we're going to talk on an email. We're going to introduce you to Mr. Goldman. And look, Mr. Goldman has come in my room a few times. He's never gotten on camera in my room. He's never gotten on camera in my room, but I've never invited him up, to be fair, when he was in there because, you know, I was doing my show and I wanted people to watch my show. The point is, I will make phone calls if Haps.tv puts me in the limelight. I've got connections to big name people. Joe Simon was a great example of that. Joe Simon was here. Okay, Doug Schimel was here. Okay, they're not exactly like, you know, everyday people. They're big names. Big names. Respected resumes, dude. Respected resumes. Okay, both of them have been around for well over a quarter of a century in their industries. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm gonna rest my case right now. I'm gonna thank everybody for tuning in. Wish you all a good night. And like I said, start giving me the deservement that I need. I deserve what I worked for. Recognize who the Grizz is. This is Michael tonight because I am Michael. But at the end of the day, I want to be known as Grizz. That's who I want to be on the air as. Just like there was, who was it? Dom Imus, Howard Stern. I want to be Grizz. Rush Limbaugh, just to name a few of the names. Okay? I want to be Grizz. And that's all I want. On that note, good night. Peace. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Thanks to Doug Schimel. Thanks to Harry. Good night, everybody.